settled in, and I'm going to read. It's called The Snow Geese, and it's from the book of Mary Oliver Devotions. So let's just take a minute to settle into our space and transition from all the stories and busyness to just getting here on your mat, this safe place, a safe container where you can let your body just have a respite, okay, which it needs. So take a full breath in through the nose and out through an open mouth. Couple more breathing in. And again, inhale. Just know that you have arrived in this place of presence, of simple being. And with all the complexities that are out in what you're dealing with, in your yoga practice, you know that it can just be as simple as I am here, I am enough. And allow your body that chance to just be present with what is. Knowing that sense of impermanence, that everything that we think is going to last forever, those things that we don't enjoy, we think they're never going to end, and they do. It's like the ocean wave, or the beginning of the day, the end of the day, the beginning of the breath, the end of the breath, the start of the wave, the end of the wave. Eventually, everything just cycles through. So this too will cycle through. And it's how we journey with it that's really gonna make a difference in our well-being. Okay. So this is called Snow Geese. Oh, to love what is lovely and will not last. What a task to ask of anything or anyone. Yet it is ours, and not by the century or the year or by the hours. One fall day, I heard above me, and above the sting of the wind, a sound I did not know, and my look shot upward. It was a flock of snow geese, winging it faster than the ones we usually see, and being the color of snow, catching the sun, so they were in part at least golden. I held my breath, as we do sometimes, to stop time when something wonderful has touched us, as with a match which is lit and bright, but does not hurt in the common way, but delightfully, as if delight were the most serious thing you ever felt. The geese flew on. I have never seen them again. Maybe I will, someday, somewhere. Maybe I won't. It doesn't matter. What matters is that when I saw them as through the veil, secretly, joyfully, clearly. So if we can just invite our eyes to close now and tap into that inner awareness of I am, that simple presence of being. Those opportunities, and we see those beautiful things, those snow geese, those things that delight us, how we hold our breath and want to hold on to those, but we know they don't last, so we have to let go of the breath and move on to the next. So now just following that wave of breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And just inviting the breath to move through all parts of our body today, settling, calming, being that voice of reason, that voice of inviting us to skillfully ride the waves of life that are thrown at us in so many different directions. And we can choose to hold our breath and stare at it, hoping it will change, or we can release the breath, knowing that it will eventually change in its time. So to calm the nervous system, we take a full breath in, pause at the top of the breath, and take a longer breath out. So 4, 5, 8 breathing. So exhale fully, and then inhale 2, 3, 4, pause 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pause. Catch your breath if you need to, and we'll try that again. So when you're ready to exhale fully, do. And when you're ready, inhale. Pause at the top of the breath, neither breathing in or breathing out. And then fully exhale, long and slow. Barely perceptible air coming out of the nostrils. If you had a flame under your nose, it would barely flicker. When you feel ready, take another full, rich breath in. Allow that belly to soften and round. Side ribs expand, chest broadens, pausing at the top of that beautiful breath, just allowing the breath to calm the nerves. And then as you exhale, that barely perceptible breath coming out of the nostrils, long and slow. If not comfortable, breathe out through pursed, kissy lips. I'll try that one more time. So full exhalation. And then when you're ready, breathing in, pausing at the top of that breath. And then a long and slow, regulated exhalation. Staying present with the physical sensations of the body for your practice today. Bow your head toward your chin towards your heart, and place your hands over your heart, palm over palm, resting the hand over the heart. It is another way of helping to calm the body. And set an intention for a class today. If you came with one for yourself or for somebody else, or if you're open to the idea of skillfully navigating through your life with the awareness that there is impermanence, that the only thing we can count on is that things will change. And sometimes that's a good thing, that things will change and surprise us and open up and make space and way for us to get what we want. But then other times it will just be the way it is, and we have to wait for another time. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying it's the way it is. And the way we respond to that is the way our body will respond to that. And we have to keep ourselves healthy and monitor our well-being as best we can. Another breath in, full breath out. And then blink the eyes open and lift the head up. And scoot forward in your chair. And just rock side to side. This is like riding those waves. I love that thought about skillfully riding the waves of what happens. So we can, I don't know, I've never been surfing, but I always imagine if I were surfing, I would be a bit of a spaz, kind of panicking, kicking, flailing all my limbs. That's not skillfully riding the waves. Go the other direction. But with practice, if I were a practice and had lessons and knew how to surf, I could more perhaps skillfully ride those waves. And that's what our yoga practice does. It teaches us to be skillful in riding those waves of all the stuff that comes up in life. So stretch the fingers. And I'm not saying I'm always successful. It's a good 50-50. But it's the idea of being mindful and practicing. Take those wrists in circles, starting to move the body. And let's pay attention to the body now. So what's happening when we start to take bigger or fuller circles? And reach the arms up overhead, back and down, nice and slow. Just pay attention to what you notice about the shoulders. And we really worked our shoulders quite dramatically last week. So I'm wondering how the shoulders felt after the practice, and if you've had a chance to go back to that practice. Give yourself a nice big hug, soften the shoulders down, round the chin to the chest. And then lengthen the spine, open the arms out to the side, draw the shoulder blades together. Come into cat-cow. Take the other arm overhead. If you remembered which arm was on top, if you were paying attention, can you put the other one on top? Give yourself a hug. And then open the arms out. Lift the heart. Exhale, rounding, hugging, folding into yourself. And inhale, opening the heart. Now let's do one more of those. Exhaling and inhale, lift the heart. Good. And then bring those hands back to the thighs. Come to a really beautiful seated mountain, solid and stable. So the feet are connected to the earth and the feet push into the earth gently, all four corners, as you use that to help lengthen up through the spine. Roll the shoulders back, lift up through the heart, and draw the belly in. This seated mountain pose. Taking the arms out to the side as if you are the sides, the slope of the mountain, strong and stable here. Roll those shoulders back. And just be the mountain for a moment. Steady, strong. Good. And then lower the left hand down towards the side of the chair. Reach the right arm up to whatever is your level of comfort with that shoulder. Maybe it's at goal post or fingertips on the shoulder. And crescent over towards that left side. What happened to the right sit bone? Can you press that down, root that down? And then with a couple of lifts and lowers, inhale, breathing in. And exhale, crescent over to the side. Inhale and exhale, just kind of flowing through this. Easy does it. Bring the right hand on, left hand onto the thigh, lift and lengthen with the right, and twist over towards the right side. Open twist here. Can you take that right arm even back behind the chair, open up a little bit more, and not twisting from the lower spine, twist from the middle back. So if your left knee needs to come forward of your right knee, so you're not twisting from the lumbar spine, but from the mid-thoracic spine, please imagine you're in a swivel chair and that left knee comes forward just a bit. Good. And then come back to center. Shift the leg side to side. See what's going on with that lower back, the hips, and then we'll take a twist to the other direction. So come back to your mountain, stable, strong. This time we'll lower the right hand down, lift the left arm up to your level of comfort, lengthen, and then crescent over towards that side. And with the breath, inhale and exhale. Good. Breathing in and out. Ride the waves of the breath, of the movement. And then keep those fingertips reached up toward the sky, find length. Take the right hand to the right thigh and then gently twist towards the left. And maybe that left hand can come back behind the chair or just reach back behind you. The right knee can come forward of the left knee, so you're not twisting from the lumbar spine, but more from where the ribs connect to the spine in that thoracic area. Good. And then come back to center and shift the knee side to side again. So we're going to just start bringing some awareness into the lower back and the hip region. So grab your blocks and we're going to stack them first in front of you. Okay, those blocks are somewhere. Good. Okay, so if you have osteoporosis, you know the deal that you don't want to go more than 45-degree hinging forward because you can increase the risk of a wedge fracture or the thoracic vertebrae especially kind of collapse on top of each other. But if your spine is fine, or even if just low bone density. So if you have osteoporosis, your hands remain on your thighs. You roll the shoulders back and you lead with the heart. You keep the weight of the torso supported on the thighs. Still getting a nice stretch, all right? If your spine is okay, if it works for you to bring your hands onto the blocks in front of you so you get a little bit deeper, take your feet about mat distance apart. And then if it works for you to maybe even bring the blocks side by side. So honor your back, honor your spine. Nice stretch here. Just seeing what I've got here with your forward folding. Okay, try to keep the head and neck in alignment so you're not drooping the head down. The neck is in line with the spine, but the chin's not lifted either. Good. All right, bring the hands up to the thighs now, lift back up. We're going to be seeing some more of that forward folding as we move through the practice, okay? Let's, you have your strap? I hope you have to get up and get your strap too. You have your strap nearby. And we're going to place the block between the thighs, lengthwise, in the middle of the thighs. Unfurl your strap, and this might take a second to do this. Do you want to thread, make a loop with the strap? We're going to be using this loop later on, so take time to do it. I think you all know how to make a loop with your strap. Thread it through both loops, and then take it through just the second one then. So you're making a nice adjustable strap there. Does everybody know how to do that? Anybody not know how to do that? Okay. All right. Let me get closer then. My strap is so long. It's one of those straps that's good for the parachute pull. Okay, make a strap to make a loop. Do you have the metal? Okay. So you just go through both. Okay. And then go over top of the one closest to the end and then thread it through the second one. And it just makes a little buckle, like a little strap like that. And you can pull it and make the strap as big or as small as you need to. Does that make sense? Everybody good? Okay. All right, so the block's between the thighs. Now I can kind of step into it and give it a good snug tight so that the strap is around the block and the top of the block and the thighs. Okay, so what you're just trying to get so you can press your thighs outward against the strap. If everybody's in that position, good. Okay. All right, so this is going to help for those of you who have kind of slippery SI joints, the sacroiliac joint, that bone between the pelvis. This helps to reset that, okay? So first thing that you do is walk your feet out about hip distance apart, and then turn your toes in and lift your heels up. And we're first going to squeeze the block. So we're not as much using the strap. So squeeze the block. So squeeze the block with your thighs. Heels are lifted, toes are turned in. And we're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. And that's just kind of making some space in that sacroiliac joint. You might even feel, if you have sacroiliac joint discomfort, you might even feel a little release of that. All right, now release that, give it a little break. And we're going to try that again. So lift the heels up, squeeze the block in toward the thighs in toward the block, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. So we're strengthening the inner thighs. All right. And this is also, believe it or not, working the pelvic floor. So it's almost a replacement for a Kegel with the toes turned in and the heels lifted, and then release. So this is doing a lot of things. Let's do that again now. Squeeze the block, lift the heels, toes are turned in. So it's realigning the sacroiliac joint, it's strengthening the inner thighs, and it is doing some pelvic floor work as well for any issues with incontinence. All right, and we're going to do one more of those. You want to try to hold it for about 10 seconds and release it for about 10 seconds. So let's try that one more time. Lift the heels, toes turned in, squeeze the block. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Good. All right, and release that. Now, walk your feet in toward each other and Mary Poppins your feet so your heels are together and your thighs are going to go out to the side, but that's where the strap comes in handy. What we're going to do here is press the thighs against the strap, so opening the knees out into the strap, but pushing the heels in toward each other. All right, so push the heels in toward each other, press the outer thighs into the strap. Press, 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 This is another one that helps a different layer of the pelvic floor, also helps to strengthen the outer hips and realign the sacroiliac joint. So relax that, release, and just notice that change, that release when you're, okay, let's try it again. Legs out to the side, heels press in toward each other, press, 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 press. And release that. Let's do that 2 more times. So legs to the thighs, heels press in toward each other. Squeeze the feet, the heels, and release. And then last time. Outer thighs out, heels press in. It should feel pretty big engagement here. Good. All right, and release that. Okay, loosen the strap just a little bit, just enough to get it off the thighs, and put one block out in front of you. Okay, I'll come to that in a minute. And take your feet even wider than they were before. So this is what I call goddess legs. Hands are on the thighs. Press the hands into the thighs, and from here, hinge forward. So now we're stretching. So we were strengthening, now we're stretching the inner thigh. So press forward, press the feet into the earth, engage. So you're pushing the feet down, engaging the muscles of the legs, and then using your muscle strength to open the knees away from each other even more, while at the same time stretching the inner thigh a lot. All right, press back up, release. So this is that sense of impermanence where you're engaging. So press the feet down, lengthen your spine and hinge forward. Use your muscle energy as if you're still pushing the outer thighs on strap. So imagine you're pushing your outer thighs into the strap, pushing your feet down, using that muscle energy to hold those knees wide. Good. And release. Good. And one more time, press down, press open, lengthen and hinge forward, really engaging the muscles of those legs. So we're doing everything symmetrically to keep the alignment of that sacroiliac joint in safe. All right, press back up. And now a nice shoulder stretch. So that right shoulder toward the left knee. And you should feel a stretch across the back right quadriceps lumborum, the side body muscles. And come back to center. We do this standing sometimes. So now the left shoulder is to the right knee. And back again, right to left. Center and switch again. Good. And lift back up. All right. With your strap, you still have that loop. All right. If you can make the loop a little smaller, it might be easier to work with. So I just made my loop a little bit smaller, not a have to. Okay. And put it on your left foot. And bring the strap to the inside of your left leg. And we're going to do, if you can imagine fire hydrants where you're on your hands and knees and lifting your leg out to the side, that's the same thing we're going to do. So we're going to lift the foot up just a couple inches off the floor and use the strap to help take that leg out to the side and back again. So now we're into our first asymmetrical pose. So notice if you feel any discomfort or odd sensations in that back sacroiliac area. So we're going to do 5 or 6 with the strap, and then see if you can release the strap and just use the strength of your leg to take that leg out to the side. If you still need the support of the strap, please hold on and use the support of the strap. We're looking for range of motion and some abduction strength on the outer edge of the hip. 2 more. Good. All right, very nice. And let's switch to the other side. Now, our hips are super uneven, so you may not have the same experience on both sides. So using the strap to help press, and I'm using the strap to really press that leg out to the side, using my arm strength to help open that leg, warm that hip joint up a little bit. And then if you feel like it, you can release the strap and do it on your own, or continue to build that strength as you offer a little bit of support. So hip and hamstring work is all about creating strength, balance, lengthening that which is too tight, and strengthening that which is too short and weak, right? Okay, now bring the soles of the feet just together, just windshield wiper those knees in and out, butterfly those knees in and out. Okay. All right, now we've got the strap. We're going to place that still on that right foot, and place the block close enough so that the heel of your foot, when the heel is on the part of the block that's closest to you, your knee is bent at about a 45-degree angle. Okay, so my foot is on the block, my knee is at a 45-degree angle, and my foot's at the block, point of the block that's closest to me, because we're going to slide our foot forward. All right, so the strap is on the ball of the foot, and the toes are drawn toward the nose. So this is your first Achilles and calf stretch. But now we're going to slide the heel down the block as we still continue to pull the toes towards the nose, gain a little stretch, and then you should feel where the calf muscle stretches and ignites into a deeper stretch. Okay, so you start with the knee bent, you slide the heel forward, and you should get a better stretch in that calf. All right, hold it for another breath. Then bend the knee back toward the distal end of the block closest to you. Proximal, sorry. And then slide that heel away from you. Straighten the leg. Keep the toes lifted and spread. Press that thigh bone down. Press the calf muscle down. Feel that stretch across the calf. Good. All right, now this time, bring the heel back to the end of the block closest to you with your knee bent. Lengthen the spine and now hinge forward. So one hand's on the thigh, the other's holding onto the strap. Hinge forward as much as feels good. Now start to straighten the knee. Now you're going to get that stretch going all the way into the hamstring. So sliding the heel toward the far end of the block. Feel that stretch in the hamstring. So it's inviting that stretch little by little rather than just dropping into it too quickly. One more breath here. And then slide the heel back to the closest end of the block. Knee is bent. Lengthen the spine, hinge forward, and then press the heel into the block as you slide it away from you. Straightening out the knee, getting a nice stretch in that hamstring. All right. Good. And lift back up. Now let's take the strap, put it on the other foot, slide the block over towards your left side, and we'll start with that calf. All right, so this is a kind of interesting way to really sense into this. So toes are drawn towards the nose, knee is bent, keeping the spine long. We're not hinging. We're just going to start to straighten the knee. And little by little, feel that stretch. And you have control. You have control how much stretch you're going to put into this. Maybe you need to start with a partially straight leg, and then little by little, you can get it more straight. All right, try a couple more times. Bending the knee and then sliding the heel down toward the end of the block. Toes towards the nose. And this is a really good way to stretch the calf if you have foot pain, plantar fasciitis, flexible flat feet, all that stuff where stretching the calf while you're bearing all the weight on your feet is not good for your calf. Keep pressing that thigh bone down, get that nice stretch across the whole length of the calf and the Achilles. Good. All right. Now we'll do the hamstring. So bring the heel back to the closest edge of the block, lengthen, hinge forward, and then slide the heel away from you. You maintain control, nice and slow. See if you can keep the hinge and slowly, little by little, start to straighten the leg and press the thigh bone down, engage the muscle of the quadriceps so you can release more of the hamstring. And lift back up. Let's try that a couple more times. Lengthen, knee is bent, hinge forward, and then start to slide the heel down the edge of the block. Stretching is slow, methodical, mindful. Good. Use your breath. Lift back up. Last time. Lengthen, hinge, slide. Ooh. Really feel that, because I think when you hinge first and then slide, you tend to hinge forward a little further than you might normally do. Good. Hold it for another breath. And then lift back up and bring your block back towards you as you place the strap off to the side. Okay, now blocks. Take your feet as wide as the mat and place the right block at about a 45-degree angle on the inside edge of your right foot. And then your left block's going to come just right in the center. All right, we're going to do a seated lizard pose. So I'm going to place my right foot on top of the block. But if you know already your right hip's being persnickety, you might want to lower the height of the block. Okay, so find what works for you. And then with the hands on the thighs, we're going to just hinge forward, see if that's okay. And then if it works, take your the same side, the right hand, and bring it close to the right foot so the right shoulder is in line with the right knee. The left hand is just helping to support the torso weight. Now up to you to change the height of the block for what works for your hip and spine today. So if you can change the height of the block, do so. If you need to stay elevated, then stay elevated. Okay. All right. Feel that stretch in the outer hip. Same side, Rose, same side. Yep. So just take the block. Yep. Good. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. All right. And then lift back up and we'll try that other side. So place the block on the outside edge of the left mat, 45-degree angle, place the foot on it. This is where you're going to see how asymmetrical you are if one side is a little more open to this than the other side. So I'm supporting my weight still with my right hand on my right thigh. Left shoulder's in line with the left knee or the elbow, wherever you are today. And then shifting the height of the block depending on the openness of the hips today. Good. Nice, Sarah. Good. I can see most of you. All right. Another breath here. And then go ahead and lift back up. Okay. So one block's going to come to our right side. The other block's going to stay in the center as we move to a gate pose. So I'm going to shift my weight, my hips over towards the left side of the block, left side of the chair, and extend my left leg out to the left side for that nice inner thigh stretch. And then we're going to hinge forward, a lot of hinging forward. So if your back's getting tired of this, just be mindful that it might not need to do all these hinging forward, but it's going to give you a good stretch on the inner thigh. Keep the spine long, hinge from the hip crease, and place that right elbow on the right thigh to support the weight. The left hand can come onto the left block. Maybe you want to use two blocks to add a little bit more support, okay? So again, your practice, you decide how deep you want to go into this practice, but try to keep the hip points even and press down through that left inner thigh. So you're pressing that down to the earth, really opening up through that inner thigh area. Good. All right, lift back up, reach the arms out to the side, reach the arms up overhead, get length in the spine. Lower your left hand down to your left thigh and crescent over to that left side. Keep the right leg rooted, pressing down, straight out. Lift both arms up overhead, inhale here, and then lower your right hand down either to the chair or to the block. And if the shoulder is open to it, you can bring the upper arm in line with the ear and stretch and reach a little bit longer, trying to get that space between the hip and the rib to lengthen. You can do the same thing with your fingertips on your shoulder. Really take awareness to that hip space. Good. And then press back up to a T. Then bring the hands back to the thighs and walk your foot back. And we'll shift the blocks over. So scooch over to the right side of your chair and extend the right leg out to the side. And the foot goes wherever the knee feels most comfortable. All right, so lengthen the spine, hinge forward from your hip crease. If you need 1 or 2 blocks, you decide what you need. Hinge forward, maybe the hand stays on the thigh to help support the weight. And kind of send the sitting bones back and shoot the spine forward. Get that nice stretch in the inner thigh. Good, a couple more breaths here. We'll press up to feel that release and permanence. Reach the arms up overhead. And lower your right hand down to your right thigh, crescent on over to that side. Again, getting that nice opening across the ribs, across the hip. Good. And come to a T and go the other direction. So wherever that right shoulder wants to be. Oh, beautiful. Your shoulders look great today. Wow. Nice and open. And then come back to center. Hands come down to the thighs and walk your feet in toward each other. So I really want to do a good quadricep stretch, and it doesn't feel good on everybody. So I'm going to show you. And if you know that that's not for you today, we're going to have another chance to do quadriceps when we do clamshell. But it's turning sideways in your chair and placing a block down on the floor, scooching toward the back of the chair. So your thigh is supported by the chair, and then lowering the knee onto the block. And maybe you need 2 blocks if your leg is shorter. So we can be a little bit ahead of you to start. All right, see how my knee is ahead of my hip. Now the way we're going to get the stretch today is a little bit different. I was playing around with this and it really worked. Is scooching the bottom forward until the knee is either in line with the hip or even a little bit behind the hip, squeezing the glute and then sending the hip points forward, like not arching the back because that will crunch the lower spine. So you're not arching, you're just hinging back with a straight spine until you feel something that feels like a nice stretch in that quad. All right, so it's a big, deep stretch and it's an awkward position. You have to be very careful of your lower back. So I'm kind of really engaging the glute, engaging the core, and hinging from the hip, not from the back. Okay, release that and then try that one more time. So squeeze the glute, lengthen the tailbone, kind of tuck the tailbone under a little bit, hinge back until you feel something that feels like a stretch in that quad. If you have knee issues, some people might feel that in their knee in not a fun way. So back off. Good. And then release that. And let's go to the other side. Okay. So hold on to the chair, slide your thigh back, so your bottom back, so you have room to slide forward. Place the knee so the knee is ahead of the hip. You can curl the toes under or not, depending on you. And then just slowly start to scooch forward. It takes a little bit of ingenuity. Maybe the knee needs to come out a little bit more. And then squeeze the glute, lengthen your spine, keep the core engaged, And then hinge back. Don't arch the back. Hinge back until you get that nice stretch in the quad. Go forward and press back again. Good. Nice slow stretches for these hips. Good. And release that. Nice. Okay. Let's do our sit stand now. So while you're doing sit stand, I'm going to move the video back. So I'll do a couple with you. Feet are behind the knees. Press the feet into the earth. Lengthen the spine and hinge forward. Press the hands into the thighs and come to standing. Shift the weight to the heels of the feet. Send the sitting bones back. Slowly start to lower down. And then just a few more. Good. Keep working that. I just wanted to ask, Judy, I'm not seeing your video, Judy Gavin. So I don't know what's going on there. And Linda's still trying to connect to audio. Got some tech. There you are. I don't know if you wanted it that way. That's fine if you do. I just wanted to let you know I couldn't see you. All righty. Couple more. Good. And then when you get to standing that last time, just place the chair. You've got the long edge of your mat. Place the chair at the end of your mat on the left side. Whoa, it fell off. Fell off my iPad. Okie doke. Good. All right. Very good. Come into mountain pose. Feet are hip width distance apart. Roll the shoulders back. Come to that beautiful mountain pose and feel the balance of the feet on both sides. All right. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Nice long line between shoulders to hips, hips to knees, knees to ankles. Lower that arm down. All right. Inhale again. And lower the left arm down and crescent over to the right side and just gently rest your hand on your head. We're going to stay here for just a moment. Should have pressed that right foot into the earth. Feel that stretch from hip to rib. And sometimes our hips are uneven because we're really tight in our waistline. If you got a little scoliosis or something that's pulling your weight one way more than the other, if you need to hold on to the chair to get a little extra support while we stay in this posture. And as you're breathing, this is an impermanent situation, but it's a longer situation. Keep opening up through the hips and ribs, keep lifting the heart. One more breath here. And then slowly, slowly, slowly come out of this. And if you found you liked having the support of the chair, just turn your body around so you can have the support of the chair on the other side. Okay, don't worry about moving the chair. Right, reach that left arm up, press it over toward the left side, and just relax your forearm on your head. And take your awareness to rooting down through that left side. Open up through the hip. Feel that nice stretch. So sometimes as you get throughout the course of the day, after you've woken up and gotten your bones moving, this is a good stretch to do and pause and hold for a while just to try to balance out the sides of the body. If you slept on one side, curled up in one side more than the other, help to balance that out a little bit. And the recommendation is to try to hold this for at least a minute. It's almost like a yin, right? All right, another breath. And then press back up to standing and lower that arm down. Roll the shoulders out. Take your feet to a nice wide stance. Feet are a 45-degree angle. Take the arms out to a T. Plug the head of the arm bone into the shoulder. Lengthen the spine and then track the knees over the feet into goddess. Pausing here into goddess. Reach the arms up overhead, straighten the knees, lengthen. Inhale here, exhale, press back into goddess. And inhale. Now we're going to switch the breathing to help with the pelvic floor. So we're going to inhale as we lower. So And exhale, squeezing the pelvic floor, lifting the arms up. Inhale, release the pelvic floor. And exhale, squeeze everything in and up. 2 more. Inhale, releasing that pelvic floor. And exhale, squeeze, draw everything in and up. Last one, inhale. And exhale, squeeze and draw everything in and up. Hands come to the heart. And heel toe walk the feet together. Pause for just a moment. Good. Shake the legs out. Okay. With all the opening we've done so far, let's see what our warrior pose or warrior 2 and triangle pose look like. So take a nice wide stance for yourself. Right hand comes on the right hip, left hand on the chair if you need it, and then turn those left toes under the chair. Kick the right heel back and turn the collarbones facing forward. With a nice open inner thigh, bend that front knee and use your muscle energy to open the knee out just a little bit further to the pinky toe side of your foot. Reach the arms out to the side, plug the head of the arms into the shoulder and look over your left fingertips. Warrior 2 here. And we're going to hold this for a little longer than we usually do, just to consider that idea of permanence and riding those waves. So what happens when you start to get frustrated or this is enough? Maybe come to your Ujjayi breath. Focus on the breath. A little constriction of the back of the throat. Know that this will be over. Now lower your back hand, turn the front palm up, reach the arm up overhead. That nice release in the shoulders with the opening in the side body. Use the breath skillfully, riding the waves, using the breath, wrapping the mind around that sense of impermanence. Then come back to warrior 2. Straighten the front knee and bring the left hand onto the chair, right hand onto the hip, and then turn the torso toward that front leg, front straight leg. Hinge forward a quarter fold. Now slide your left hand onto your left thigh or bring the back of the hand to the inside edge of the left thigh and use that to help twist and open your heart forward. That right elbow presses back behind you and you can stay right here or slide the thumb up the side body, reach the arm up overhead. Always an option to hold on to the chair with your triangle as well. Okay. And then come back to your nice wide forward fold. Rose, you doing okay? You okay? Okay. And squiggle your feet in toward each other. You can do a nice warrior seated too with the legs out wide and the arms out to the side. Okay. Shake the legs out. I'm going to take the chair over to the other side. All right. Let's take a nice wide stance. Left hand on the left hip, toes pointing toward the front. Kick that left heel back just a bit. Collarbones face forward. Get really long with your spine. Bend to that front knee. Make sure that knee stacks over the ankle. Open up through the inner thigh. Sweep the arms out to the side and gaze over your right fingertips. Pausing here for a moment, feeling the strength. Using your Ujjayi breath. Focusing on the breath. I can do this hard thing. I'm stronger than I think I am. One more breath here. Lower the back hand. Turn the front palm up. Reach it up overhead. Gaze at your hand if that works for your neck. Just open up through those side ribs. Good. And then come back to warrior 2. Bring the right hand to the chair, left hand to the hip. Straighten the front leg. Turn the torso toward that front right leg. Hinge forward a quarter fold. Now either you can hold on to the chair, that's an option, or Bring that right hand onto the right thigh or the inside edge of the right knee, and use that to help open the heart toward the front of the room. Roll the shoulder back, triangle pose. And then you can stay right here with your left hand on your hip or slide it up your side body, reach the arm up overhead. So you're making a T with your arms. One more breath. Good. And then release that. Take a bend to that knee and heel toe your feet back to center. Shake the legs out. Okay, lastly, I want to do tree pose because it's a really wonderful hip opener and give you an option of using the chair or using your knee as a different point of proprioception. Okay, so you can have the chair here, you're close to the wall, and letting the knee, instead of the hands hold on, letting the knee be that point that kind of gives you that help of being held up. Okay, so coming close to the wall or the chair, whatever your preference is today. All right, let's shift your weight over towards the wall side and then come up on the toe. Nope, sorry. Shift your weight over to the balance prop side and then lift the wall toe up. Turn that knee over to the side and walk close enough so that your knee can touch the wall. And then place the foot on the ankle or the inner thigh, and then see how it feels to release the hands. So keep pressing the knee and the foot into their spaces, and then reach the arms up overhead. Hold on to the wall if that feels safer for you. Draw that belly in and up. Good, another breath here. How's that standing leg feeling? What can you come to when things get hard? Can you come to the breath? Let go of the stories, and then we'll release that. Shake that out. And then just turning around, shifting your weight so that you can put the weight on the opposite leg, the knee on the wall. So you may need to adjust a little bit. All right. And then as you're ready, reach the arms up overhead. I'm going to take a peek, see what you guys are doing here. Hands to the heart. Good. So draw that belly in and up. Use your drishti. Let go of the stories. Use your breath. Come to the breath. Let the mind not tell stories. Come to the breath. Readjust. If you fall out, it's okay. Come back. Begin again. Begin again. Good. And then go ahead and release that. And feel the release. Good. Okay. Let's come onto our backs now with your strap and a block. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start with in constructive rest. And do a little bit of pelvic tilting, all right? So once everybody gets situated, if you're already in position and you're familiar with pelvic tilting, just begin pressing the feet into the earth and flattening out your lumbar spine. And then release the pressure on the feet and lift your lumbar spine up just a bit. So this is the pelvis as a bowl spilling back and then spilling forward. So if you had a clock on your back side and 12 o'clock was closest to your lumbar spine and 6 o'clock was your tailbone, first I want you to press 12 o'clock of the clock into the floor and then release that and now press 6 o'clock into the floor. So 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Just a few more rounds. When you're pressing 12 o'clock, your hips and ribs come closer together. Draw that belly in. And then as you press 6 o'clock, you're broadening out and stretching your abdominal muscles. A couple more. Good. Very nice. And now come to neutral, where you're not, your pelvic bowl is nice and level, and extend your legs out to the side, arms out to a T or overhead. Press out through the heel of the feet, heel of the hands, nice stretch. Good. And then lower the arms down, bend the knees again, and find your block. Place the block under your feet. So your feet are resting on the block. Knees are pointed up towards the sky. And come to Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet together, knees open out to the side. And the reason we put our feet on a block is because that helps to plug the head of the leg bone into the pelvis just a little bit more securely. Now press the feet in toward each other. That'll invite the knees to lift just a bit. Full breath in, keep pressing, 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 pressing. And then as you exhale, release the pressure on the feet and allow the knees to release to the earth. Try that again. So press the feet, lift the knees slightly, press, 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 press. And then as you exhale, release the knees out to the side. Just pause here for a moment. Hands on the belly, come back to your breath. You can take a full breath in and feel the belly press into the hands. As you exhale, the hands sink down into the belly. Couple more, breathe in and out, in and out. Good. Okay. Now take your hands to the sides of the knees and lift the knees up. Push the block out of the way and roll over onto your side for some clamshell. So we're in a little bit of a fetal position. You can either use a block to rest your head so your head stays in neck with your spine, or a blanket. So the knees are bent, the feet are glued together. And from here, we're going to keep the feet glued together and just lift the top leg just a few inches from the bottom leg. And that's why it's called clamshell. You're making a little clamshell out of your legs. You'll feel the gluteus, one of the butt muscles, really working here. And if you can even put your hand right above where the head of the leg bone goes into the pelvis, you'll feel that muscle really working. And this is a muscle that's typically super weak and tends to create some imbalances in our pelvis. So let's do that one more time. Good. And then draw the knee into the chest and then straighten the leg out to the short end of the mat, pressing out through the heel of the foot. Draw the knee in toward the chest and then press that leg away from you to the short end of the mat. Just do a couple of these. And again, that's working that nice gluteus muscle. Two more. Good. And then the last one we'll do is extend the leg to the short end of the mat, internally rotate it. So the heel is pointing more up toward the sky and the toes are pointing in the direction of the floor. And the leg is going to lift just a couple inches. It's not going real high. It's a very subtle move. We're just lifting and lowering, leading with the heel of the foot. And you should really feel that some fatigue there, because again, these muscles do not get a lot of attention. Let's do 3 more. 2 and 3. Good. Now I did tell you we'd get another chance to do a quad stretch. So bring your knee in towards your chest and hold on to your pants or to some part of your shin, and then walk your knee back behind you if that works for the knee. This might not work for everybody if your knee flexion isn't at a pretty deep flexion. If you want to use a strap instead, you can try a strap. But if you get your knee partially down and then squeeze your glutes and send your hip points forward, you might feel some sensation in that quadricep. All right. And then release that when you're ready. Good. Nice, Rose. Good. Okay, and then go to the other side. So roll over onto the other side. If you felt like you needed more padding or you'd rather do this in a sofa or on the bed, that is certainly an option as well, because it's hard on the resting hip, right? This one is a challenge, but this one I think is worth the effort because of strengthening and trying to create some balance in those hip joints. All right, so let's start in that fetal position. Head is supported by the block or a pillow. Feet are glued together and the knees are in line with and perpendicular to the torso. So keep the feet glued together and just lift the leg slowly off of the other one. Lift the top leg. Notice if one side is just more receptive and a little bit easier. Connect with your breath. Let's do 3 more. Use your hand in front to create some balance and support. All right, now bring that knee into your chest and then straighten the leg out. Press it out through the heel. Try to keep it in line with your pelvis, so it's not up real high or down too low. It's keeping a nice Tadasana, coming straight out from your pelvis. Good. 2 more. Good. And the last one, keep the leg long. Internally rotate from the top of the leg bone, not just the ankle, from the whole leg bone. Lead with the heel, toes pointing toward the earth. Very subtle 6 to 10 inch lift. Nice. Good. Not easy, I know that. Okay, let's do 3 more. Good. All right, and then bend the knee into the chest, hold on to the pants or the ankle, see if you can't get a little quad stretch going. Try not to, I don't want to get a hamstring cramp. Oh my goodness, those are the worst. So sometimes our quads get really tight, but they often don't get stretched. So if you're in bed and you have a chance to do this before you get out of bed as part of your morning routine, this might be a good one to add. All right, release that and then come onto your back. Just settle the spine, let it release for a moment, and feel the pelvis. So invite the pelvis to feel nice and heavy. Have your strap nearby. Let's just do a little hamstring stretch before we settle into Shavasana. So your Shavasana might be a little short today. So if you know that you want to linger in Shavasana longer than we do, then you can turn your video off and before we start Shavasana, okay? So put the strap around your left foot, right foot, it doesn't matter. Just draw that knee in toward the shoulder so that you can plug that head of the leg bone in, then extend the leg long. And I'd rather it be straight than high. So get it nice and straight first, and then slowly press out through the heel of the foot and draw the leg towards your face. But if it starts to bend, then lower the leg again, straighten it, and only take it as high, just like we were doing when we were sliding the heel along the block to get it straight. And then lift it. That would be like you're hinging forward. So if the leg bends, lower it until it's straight. Good. And just do a couple bending and straightening. Nice and slow, just like we were sliding the heel along the block. Bend and straighten. Some length in those hamstrings. Good, 1 more. Nice, and then switch feet. Just focusing on the number 1 today, Supta Padangusthasana number 1. So bring the knee toward the shoulder, plug the head of the leg bone in, extend the leg nice and long, flex out through the heel of the foot, lift the leg so it's straight, nice and slow. You can release it and lift back up little by little, just getting more stretch, more length. Very subtle movement. And then if it felt good for you to bend and straighten, bend and straighten. Good. And a couple more. Nice. And then hold it up there for just a nice sustained stretch. Good. And then release that. Draw the knees in towards your chest. And do whatever it is you need to do to settle into Shavasana. And that you feel you can get a good, comfortable position, taking your awareness just to relaxing the hips, relaxing the hamstrings. Rock the knees side to side if that would feel good. And then when you're ready, go ahead and settle into Shavasana. Make sure you're warm enough. And again, if you think you want a longer Shavasana, go ahead and you can leave the meeting or mute us, whatever you want to do, so that you cannot be disturbed and have a longer Shavasana. Maybe a couple of nice inhalations and open mouth exhalations to release any tension that may have lingered. Coming back to that sense of impermanence, the beginning of the practice, the middle of the practice, the end of practice. Here you are at the end. Moving through your day. Riding the waves skillfully. Skillfully using the breath. Please feel free to stay here longer. Only if you're ready. Take a nice full breath in, long, slow breath out. And begin wiggling your fingers and your toes. Rock your knees side to side. And you're rolling over onto your favorite side. And press your hands into the earth. Come to a comfortable seat. And with the hands to your heart space, take a moment again to see if you come to a place that feels like gratitude for your practice and the things you've skillfully learned to navigate your way through your day-to-day experiences without affecting your well-being. So bow your head to honor your own practice. And then blink your eyes open and greet each other who have decided to get up. Greet those with